we are. Next session and Saturday morning. It is funny that you asked me about rain. Maybe you read the track, Adhira, but you do awaken to the sound of raindrops impacting the roof above you. It's an early morning. The sun is starting to come up. That purple glow of light is starting to filter through. Those of you with windows starting to filter through your window. This Saturday, as you're waking up, you can hear the sounds of what appears to be construction work beginning early this morning. It's not above you like it has been sometimes during the week, kind of during the day, during lessons, but there is construction work going on around the sort of borders of the actual East Academy. It looks like some of the foundations for the walls are being dug up and sections are being improved. Higher walls, rune markings are being engraved into the walls as well. Security is being boosted.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, the rain has just begun and the construction work that was ongoing has sort of paused at this point, and they're putting up these like tarpaulins trying to stop water from filling in some of the ditch work and things like that they've dug already, as they try and channel the rainwater off into the street to be handled by the actual sort of sewer systems and so on that the city already has in place. So yeah, you wake up to the sound of like shouts and like people discussing like what needs to be done and so on and so forth. That's the kind of thing that greets you, along with the rhythmic tapping of raindrops on the roof above you. What do people want to do this Saturday morning?
Get up and enjoy the phenomenon that is rain.
Yeah, different for you, I suppose, Satira. As you wake up and head out into like the communal area where there are some bigger windows that face out of the kitchen area, Verity herself has like a big mug of probably like hot tea or something like that. She gestures to a teapot as you walk in and says, something warm. I always like drinking something warm when I'm watching the rain fall.
Yes, please. I think it's a great idea. And she will join her. How sweet is the tea? How much do I have to brace myself?
It's like dried berries, like forest fruits, and like cinnamon and other things stuck in there. So yeah, it's really sweet tea. You know, just a medley of different sweet berries and warm spices. The warm spices do sort of mellow it to a degree, but it still has like a sickly tang as it goes across the tongue. She'll look at you over her mug and just say, I miss my floor companion. How are you doing?
Doing good. I think the new room is definitely a neat treat. You've seen the ceiling, have you?
Mm-hmm. She nudges her shoulder into yours.
And I am, hopefully, nothing wrong going. I am going to be having dinner with Andres tonight.
She takes a sip of her drink and says, you two move so quickly. Took me and Louis a year to build up the confidence to agree that we liked each other, as it were.
It is a bit strange, but then I also remember that we are on a... She pauses and tries to find the right phrase in trade. Expedited schedule. Taps the shell piece on her waist.
They say that most relationships that EKs have start at the academies, so I suppose it's not that unusual, yes.
Guess they would go for other EKs. I mean, there have to be a few that find someone outside the profession.
She nods, but she says, can you imagine waiting at home, wondering all the time? I mean, our work takes us everywhere. It's not often that we're back. Don't get me wrong, it happens. It's just the toll on people can be a lot.
No, you're right. Well, I suppose possibly a few couples where they're in the profession but not in EK.
Yeah, probably. She thinks to herself. I don't know any, but then again, I don't know too many EKs outside of the ones that teach us here and the ones that I've met in the field. It's not like they have large get-togethers, really. Meetings where everyone just sort of rubs shoulders or whatever it is. Seems more like EKs get set up with meetings with politicians more than they do each other.
You'd feel like it'd be the other way around, or more of the other thing.
You would think so, but I don't know. She thinks for a moment and says, I remember reading an article that at one point or another, two of the S ranks hadn't even met each other face to face, despite having been S ranked before for years.
See, that can't be right. There's a lot more politics in this than I would have thought coming here.
She nods and says, I'm sure it's possible to just keep your head down and do what you need to. That woman you went on missions with, Sky, she seems to be that kind of sort where she just sort of did her job as best she could and didn't really get involved with anything. That's why I think she's only just been moved to B rank, right? Saw that in a newspaper somewhere.
Yes, they're sending her to Laments to handle some things.
Perhaps she's finally started to get involved with politics. That's a bit of a hot zone, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think inside Adhere's mind, we just see an echoing playback of the team's conversation with the headmistress.
Mm-hmm.
coup, revolution.
As a pigeon sits outside. Hoo, hoo.
What mission is she going? Where is her team going on?
Verity looks at you and says, we're heading to the Dulukot border. Apparently the news article about automatons starting up has worried some of the villages out that way. We'll be doing sweeps of the area, taking care of any miasmic, and double-checking the disabled automaton fields down that way.
What are the chances that more wake up?
Well, we thought it was 0 that any could wake up at all, so unfortunately, no one knows.
Greater than 0.
Yes. She laughs and says, it's been assigned to year 2 students, so I think the concern's minimal. They're mostly just doing it to massage fears, right? We were going to make a show of things more than anything.
Well, stay safe.
You as well. I hear you're going to be in the city.
Yes. They're giving us, our team, a chance to handle the Glomite. We had a run-in with him as Axel was getting us caught up.
It's quite the high-profile target. I hear they do work all throughout the city. Your class definitely getting dumped in the deep end, it would seem.
They seem to pop up everywhere. We even found a few of their caches down in the sewers.
Oh, from the slime clearing gig, I remember.
So yeah, if we can knock them out of the game, or, well, down a few pegs at least, it'd be a nicer feeling.
I wish you good luck. I'm gonna go get dressed and ready to head out. Looks like the rain's gonna be here most of the day. If you want an umbrella, there's a few in the stand.
I've never used an umbrella before.
It's like a parasol, but for stray water drops.
cue a 3-minute montage of Adira trying to figure out how it works.
As she hops off of the sort of like kitchen counter, puts her cup in, rinses her cup out in the sink. She looks at you and says, "Just don't open it indoors. It's bad luck." And then she'll skip off to her room.
We'll gather my things and my trusty pocket companion and head out into the city to do some looking around.
Okay, you go sightseeing. Anyone else have anything they want to do that morning?
I think Dave would do a big yawn. Do a big stretch. And
Method acting.
I think Dan would still somewhat groggily make his way to the cooking club to prepare a mildly spicy stew of a sort, like more chili than stew, but not like spicy, super spicy chili. Which is why the word was not quite the thing
I gotcha.
I was looking for. But
Yeah.
You get what I mean.
I do.
And I think, if I recall correctly, that's the kind of dish that you prepare and then you let it simmer for a decent amount.
Yeah, it'll sit there for a while and cook down.
And while that is going on, I think he'd set an alarm and do a quick stop by the workshop, grab the crystal that Niall pointed out, which I believe is a request that has been forwarded to me that Niall wished to have done.
I don't think you need to stop by a workshop. A crystal was supplied to you because Niall handed it to a hero, handed it to you. But yeah, you have the crystal, and if you want to put your rune into it, you certainly can.
Yeah. I was just not sure if that should be done within the confines of a workshop or just wherever. I would be carrying my rune carving tools with me wherever, but
I think
skins on.
I think you would have to do it in a workshop space because the dust that would be produced would be arcane in nature, and you would need one of the kind of like a HVAC type thing that they have that sucks up all of the itinerant dust and fumes and things from all the different things you're doing. So yeah, you would go to a workshop for that.
I've got crystal cancer.
Well, it can be better or worse than that because it can have like innate transmutation abilities, and you can end up with gills by mistake or something strange. Give me Arcana check with advantage.
Arcana check with advantage. There we go. 24.
Having put the mark into the crystal, testing it out a little bit, Dayfer, it takes a while to get it just right until it's like actually affecting the crystal properly. But what you're able to discover is that adding this rune to a Shield of Faith crystal allows you to target another person with the Shield of Faith spell, including yourself. So you can cast Shield of Faith on someone else. But that does conclude your work on the crystal for Niall.
Check. I think on the way back, I don't know how many hours that took me just now. I would just pass that off to Adhira either on the way back to the cooking club or sometime later.
Actually, do you know what I realized? Is Shield of Faith already a targetable spell? I think it's a self only.
I think it is a
targetable spell.
It is a targetable spell. Then I make
You can target.
Now it's 2 people.
We have invented modern Shield of Faith.
I'll say that it targets yourself and the other person you're targeting, kind of like a twin spell type thing then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I just suddenly realized that I was like, hang on a minute. Can't you just do that? So that would be Dayfer's morning, I would say, probably, like setting up, cooking, all that stuff. Does anyone else know what they want to do that morning?
I would say it's just going to be a lazy day for Caliban.
Caliban, you would be sought out, I'm afraid. As you settle down in your comfiest of pajamas and your bunny slippers or whatever the hell you wear, there would be a knock kind of like on your dorm room door.
Mm-hmm. Alright, okay, I'll go answer it.
It is Mistle, who holds out a little, like, time and place card, and says, this is for the meal, your class and my class, if we're still on for Sunday evening.
Oh, okay.
She hands you a little card. You see that it's for a restaurant called Venture, which appears to be an actual ship on the lake.
Alright. Okay, thank you. And he just sort of like bows.
Mistle nods and says, if you need me to reschedule anything at all, just let me know. I'm sure they'll shift it.
Alright. I'll let the rest of the party know.
Okay. Information
When
is... Yeah. I mean, I think everyone apart from Dafer and Atir are in at the moment, so you could have dropped the information to everyone else, and I'm sure it will spread eventually. Mistle also walks over to... Well, actually, she would ask you, Caliban, which is Clara's room?
Well, as this is not a visual format, I will have Caliban, by theater of the mind, point to what I, the player, would assume to be Clara's room.
Yeah, just gonna point her in the right direction, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She will head over to the door and knock lightly.
Oh. Mistle, can I help you with something?
Well, I was going to write my mum about the drake, the small drake for the club.
Yes. Thank you. Again.
I thought perhaps you should add your own words to the letter. She pulls out the piece of paper that she'd written so far.
What do you want me to say?
She shrugs and says, whatever it is that might interest you about the species, or maybe how you intend to care for it, things like that. I don't know. Something that might make her more willing to trust us with it.
Sure. I can write something.
She nods and hands you.
Is there anything I should avoid? Or, I suppose, what should I address your mother as?
She thinks for a moment and says, well, I guess she's a doctor, so you can start with that, Dr. Draken.
Doctor will work. Yeah, I'm gonna write like a short little summary of like what I'm doing, what the club's for, that Mistle has mentioned that that Dr. Draken might have a Draken that would be useful. I suppose I will also request, or I suppose ask if she has any places for me to reference how to care for one, because I have not really come across them where I am from.
Okay. Yeah. You write an honest account, really, in the letter. You can see Mistle's half. I don't know if you wanted to read it at all.
Yeah, I'll, like, scan through just so I don't, pointlessly repeat some things.
It's Basically, like, written like a military requisition form. It doesn't look like a letter between a daughter and a mother at all. It's like a request for it, for a school project, for like an after-curricular activity. It lists all the benefits for like her career and maybe, improving Dulukop Empress City relations by having a rare species from the Dulukop region brought to the Empress City so it can be shown, and all this sort of stuff. It's written, very thesis-like.
Yeah, you. I'm gonna finish up my section, and Clara's gonna hand it back.
Thank you.
Can I ask you something? This is probably incredibly inappropriate, so if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to.
Sure. I guess.
Do you always correspond with your parents in such a manner?
She nods and says, I think keeping in contact is important, so I write every week or so.
I mean, that's nice. That's not really what I meant. This is... Well, it's written... It sounds like you're writing to a military commander, not one of your parents.
She goes a little red, and says, I'm not sure how else to talk to them.
Right. Sorry, that was incredibly intrusive of me. It's just unfamiliar.
No, it's okay. I forget that... I think I made some assumptions. You know about the meal this Sunday? Has Caliban told you?
Clara blinks 3 times. This is the first I'm hearing of it.
I dropped off an invitation with Caliban, a time and place. Maybe we can talk more there.
Yes, I wouldn't be averse to that at all. But for future reference, if you want a message to get through to someone succinctly and, well, quite frankly, get through to them at all, Caliban's not the best place to start. He seems to have a rather one-track mind when it comes to such things.
She thinks for a moment and then says, It's true, Caliban's focus is commendable. Perhaps I should stop distracting him with my minor wants and needs. Okay. And she nods and starts to, walk off.
You know what, it's fine. Thank you. I'll make sure to pass on the message. Clara's going to follow her out to presumably work out, milling around. Thank you for passing on the message about dinner that you remembered.
Oh, is she addressing me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome.
I know it must have been incredibly taxing of you to deign to think of someone else for a moment.
Oh, you have no idea.
I have some idea.
Caliban, just I was about to say something, but he holds his tongue for once.
Clara's gonna go I try and look at the little note that Mistel's passed on to find out exactly where they're going.
Yeah, so you guys took a car once, across the bridge, basically to the right-hand side of the bridge on the main lake near the Lake District. There is a little dock where the ship will be. Once you get on board, it will sail out into the lake and you guys will have dinner on the lake that evening.
Sense. Darling, actually. I wasn't going to do anything today, but I actually don't think I have anything for the occasion. Clara digs her fingernails into her palm slightly. Is there anything you might need while I'm out shopping?
Who you
Nothing
talking?
at the moment.
Is Mistle still here for this conversation, or is she gone? I'm just wondering.
It depends how fast she shuffled out. If she wasn't in a particularly rush to immediately leave, she's probably caught all of it.
Yeah, so I think if you started walking, she would have, like, assumed she was being escorted out, so she would have slowed her pace to yours. She looks at you and says, I happen to have a free evening if you'd like to go shopping.
Oh. Yeah, we can do that.
She nods. And then, yeah, I guess without digging her fingers into her palm, she'll look at Caliban and say, and really, if there's anything you need, please let me know.
He sort of respectfully bows, like, to her. I am fine, thank you.
She will.
And thank you, Clara, for being such a gracious host.
Clara's going to curtsy. Anything for you, Mr. Von Hellick?
Caliban does his best not to laugh.
Mistle will look at you, Clara, and just say, perhaps after lunch?
I'm just going to... Clara's gonna, like, fumble with her words slightly and just start going to make tea.
Yeah, Clara will leave the dorms and then we'll meet... sorry, not Clara. Mistle will leave the dorms and then meet up with you later, Clara.
Gotcha. Oh, I will also, I suppose, text Ed Hero that I'm going shopping for clothes because we're apparently going out for dinner tomorrow, if she wants to come later.
Mm-hmm.
Imagining, like, I sent, like, I was supposed to send a text to everybody else, but I forgot that I didn't hit, like, the group chat. I sent it to, like, one person, probably.
You guys do have little crystal pads. I don't think they've come up much since we've actually started the game, but yeah, you do have crystal slates that, while you're in the city, do work for communicating with one another in text-based form. Yep.
Hold on,
what horrible thing do we name the group chat?
Hold on, I'm gonna roll a 1d3 real quick. This is gonna determine who I texted instead of the group chat, and why Samara doesn't know.
I was gonna say, it won't be me.
Caliban
you just have him blocked.
Okay, one
well,
for
this is the
Hira.
thing, is that, like, by this point, she's just almost certain that even if it was an accident, he's excluding her on purpose.
Okay, one for Hira, 2 for Dafer, 3 for Uther. Okay, Dafer.
I can't believe you accidentally text Richard Duval. You sat there like, that's sweet, but no.
Dafer's had his slab on fucking Do Not Disturb since he's had it and hasn't realized.
Dafer feels like the kind of person who would peel apart his crystal display screen to try and work out how the fuck this thing works. Like, the kind of person where you walk in, it's just in like 84 pieces.
He just looks at his disassembled not scroll. It's all fractals.
Oh no.
I just haven't reassembled it yet.
Anyone else for morning stuff? I think we've got Uther, Clara, technically, if you've got something you want to do that morning before you meet Mr. Leet later.
I'm gonna go to... Oh, we have, like, a combat training room or something, don't we?
Yes, you do.
I'm gonna go down there, because Clara is woefully inadept at any form of melee combat, and I feel like I should probably make an attempt to fix that in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's gonna go, like, try and pick out some weapons and give them, like, a bit of a swing around to see if she likes any of them.
Will she be needing any assistance?
She's not gonna ask you, fuckwit.
Yeah.
Realistically, yes, she definitely needs assistance. The one person she is never going to ask.
So Clara, heading into, like, there's like a kind of like a dojo space with training dummies and things like that. There would be weapons all over the wall that you could pick from if you wanted to. I guess, Clara, what draws you? Is it like a dagger? Because I guess your weapon is kind of like daggers fused into a throwing thing in a sense already? Does that seem like the right place, or would you go for something like very different? I guess is a change to it.
I think she'd be looking for something to maintain a modicum of distance, but like that she can use closer. Maybe like
kind of like
I think she'd be trying to pick out things that have like a little bit more reach. So maybe like a spear or a halberd or like a whip or something that extends a little bit beyond your actual arms.
They do have like rope dart weapons here if you wanted to mess around with that, Clara. Obviously it's a degree of coordination to even start using something like that, but that is another thing that they do have on coils on the wall.
Yeah, I think she's just going to pick out like basically a selection of different things, because this is kind of the exploratory phase.
Yeah, I think as you're training this morning, Clara, what you do realize is how much physically stronger you've become in the last few months. With the shell kind of empowering everything you do, it's easy to look at all the others doing these like incredible feats of strength and the things while you're kind of on the back line throwing your weapon incredibly fast and incredibly hard, mind you, like decapitating things from a distance. But there's like a difference of like holding this short sword and putting it straight through like a solid block of wood with relative ease that you realize that like kind of shocks you at first. But yeah, I mean, I guess as you go through it all, I would imagine that when you were growing up, you would have had some training with like probably like a longsword or something growing up. I imagine that's more a kid, like definitely bows and things like that, right? When you were growing up, but in terms of
for sure.
melee weapons, like I can imagine if you were going to be trained, it would be with like a long blade or something like that. Yeah, I guess it just depends on, in the end, Clara, what feels right to you. If there's any sort of image in your head that makes sense as you're training that morning, what seems to fit.
I think she's just gonna mess around with them. I imagine that the results are. I mean, she is impressed with herself.
Yes.
But I don't think anyone else would be impressed, particularly by her. So it's probably a good thing that I didn't bring anyone with me, because she's quite image conscious.
Yeah, it doesn't come naturally to you. As you're doing it, you don't feel like you're improving. So, but then again, I guess from your point of view, Clara, you're more just here to see what feels right as you go through it. I do think the spear would probably stand out to you more than anything, as, like you said, it does let you keep that distance, which is easier for you to move away and get back to where you're comfortable, and you can always throw a spear or use a spear in different ways as well, so it seems quite versatile. Yeah, you spend your morning practicing and training all those different things.
Nice.
Uther, what do you want to do that morning?
I think I would be in the library, researching more into the
paint rooms, or
no, I'm gonna take a day off of the paint rooms.
Gotcha.
Just so I don't start seeing them in my brain constantly.
Yeah.
Tetris effect of that shit.
What are we looking at the constructs now?
No, I'm gonna actually be digging more into like the various trade discrepancies, I guess, if I can.
Yeah, give me...
Just see if there's been any additional reports I can pile on.
Give me an investigation check with advantage.
Also, I don't think I know what the guy looks like, so if I could ever find like a picture of the guy, I'm going to try to get a copy of that. What kind of roll do you want?
Investigation with advantage, yeah.
Ooh.
Very nice. You find a newspaper article where a kind of crystal slate image has been taken and then printed onto it. It's not directly of this guy, but he's part of a larger team, and it's like an article on like the secret people behind the logistics that feed, you know, the city day to day, and it's like the full admin team that does all the requisitions and things, and he's one of the people in the picture, and it kind of lists all the names, so you're able to pick him out. It's quite a small image, but it's enough Uther that you can see the face, you can kind of get an impression of the hair, which is kind of like this slicked to the side, not quite a comb over, it's not hiding anything, but it's more like very pressed and oiled and then like combed to the right side. It looks to be like pitch dark hair. And you notice that they looks like they've got some sort of like scarring around their ear, like something, maybe like something detonated next to their ear and took like a section of the earlobe out or something like that. Or maybe like a blade nicked the earlobe, something like that you can see.
Does it appear to be mostly cosmetic, or does it look like it might go deeper? Out of curiosity.
On a natural 20, what I'll say is you get the impression they could be deaf in one ear. It could be that this is like maybe they fought in the Trismere Fourth House Rebellion, and like an explosive went off next to their head or something like that. It looks like, you know, like a big fragmentation type thing detonated near them. On the trade discrepancies, one of the things that keeps popping up is unmanned border defense type things. So like the kind of things you'd lay along the edges of the miasmic wastes for like any ravagers or whatever runs across them. It either like maims or makes it easier for the locals to deal with, or for EKs to catch up to them. The kind of thing you just like scatter over an area in case of a breakthrough.
A minefield.
Kind of like a minefield. Actual explosives like that without direction to them aren't particularly good against miasmic shells, because they're very good at dispersing energy. What is going missing is something called barbs, which is kind of like if you think of it's kind of like a caltrop, but it's like an S-shaped, kind of like two fish hooks on top of each other, and then those are packed into a canister and detonated kind of like a nail bomb or something like that. But they're particularly good.
Way more go burr.
It's particularly good at getting into the joints on miasmic creatures, and it like buries themselves into the ability for miasmic to be mobile, and in some cases can render them completely immobile. They're obviously banned in the use of warfare because it's horrific when it goes off on a non-miasmic entity, but they're very often buried along the borders of the miasmic wastes, or in areas where it takes a while for defenses to move out to them. The more remote locations these get buried at. But shipments have been stopped. They're not coming out because basically what's been going on is like false allegations of certain people in Dudukop using them against non-miasmic targets. And obviously they're saying that this needs to be investigated before it will be released, but there's no actual confirmation from any information you've gotten from your side, Uther, that there's any truth to this whatsoever.
Yeah, just adding this stuff to the ongoing list of folder I'm making on this situation.
Yep, perfect.
Okay, so is there evidence that there is even an investigation happening, or is it just shipments have been stopped pending an investigation that we're not doing?
It keeps listing that like people are being sent to different locations to look into it, but every time someone's sent, they say that there's like no physical evidence, but you know they had some verbal accounts from unnamed individuals, and therefore they're sending another investigation. It just looks like they're kicking the can down the road by pretending there might be something and warranting further investigation without really anything coming up, Uther. But because it's so minor, no one important's gonna pay attention to it, right, Uther? Like, these things they're kind of old tech in a sense. It's like a thing that is sent out without anyone really caring. It's so easy for Empress City to make that it just doesn't bother them in a sense. And who can say either way? So it just kind of gets swept under the rug.
I don't get, like, it's not like you're reselling these things. Why?
Yeah.
Why stop that in particular?
Yeah, I mean, the medical stuff and all that kind of stuff, I guess that makes more sense to you. But yeah, as you're digging deeper, you're finding, like, the less obvious things, right, as you're getting into it more now, Uther. So yeah, you're coming into the stuff where you're like, this seems odd in a sense, yeah.
I guess at some point during this, the message would go out about a dinner that has been sprung on us last second.
Yeah, Sunday, quite late on a Sunday.
I am just going to query the group of dress code ?
I will say it's fancy.
I need fancy clothes.
You might have to. You might need to not bring the mask.
I don't wear the mask.
Unless it's one of those things where you one of those.
The scarf goes everywhere he goes. The mask is a combat tool.
I can't believe
Tuxedo mask.
I was gonna say, you can't tell Tuxedo Mask not to take his mask to a tuxedo event. What the fuck?
I can't argue with that.
When
I can't argue
exactly?
with that logic.
When exactly is the planned dinner?
Very, like, late on a Sunday. Like, getting close to, like, dusk Sunday.
The next day.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess Uther has to look for clothes too, because he doesn't have.
Yeah.
He has whatever he would have worn when we went to dinner the last time.
With Sky.
That's probably. Yeah, but I don't know if that would have been like.
That was a pretty fancy venue as well. That was, like, in the observation tower. So your clothes from there probably would be okay.
Yeah, he would just like, is the observation, what I wore to the observation tower good or not, and just like wait for a response there while just like flipping through more newspapers.
Sends yes ?
I think you noticed Dafer's silence, as in, like, Dafer likely hasn't read. If the tablets have some kind of notification system like in Matrix where you can see who has read what, then you would see that all of this is unread.
You're off.
I don't think there would be a read scene thing. It would just be like information posted to a central crystal that is then repeated across the subsequent crystals. So it wouldn't show you who's seen it or not. It would just be there.
So very, very notable silence from Dafer.
Should we hunt down Dafer and
Dafer when I get you?
Sorry, what? Could you repeat that? You were too quiet on mine.
I said Dafer when I get you.
He's coming to find you, Dafer.
Silence.
I think that.
I don't know if this thing has.
Oh, it's Hero. What
abilities?
What were you doing that morning? You went off into the town, but into the city.
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly what.
I was looking around with the primary goal of finding a place that sells or offers the telepathic bond crystal.
Yeah.
Is what Izzy needed? Yeah.
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
I was about to try and argue, like, can my spirit help? My spirit's asleep. It's...
Your spirit is stood in the middle of the street with its mouth open, trying to catch raindrops.
Yo, same!
Oh my god, I got the perfect image for that.
4.
The only place you can find is like one that was mentioned offhand by Caliban during some conversations the two of you had. It takes you like right into the middle of the city, and there is a place here just called CE, Crystal Emporium. Heading in, there are state-of-the-art Crystal devices on display. We're talking like from household appliances, like a washing machine that just casts prestidigitation on whatever you throw in it, or there would be like devices that are basically like motorcycles powered by Crystal engines in here. There is a Crystal like motorboat just hanging from the ceiling, but there's also arrays of crystals for business use and otherwise, things that were like crystals that cast glibness on the wielder so that it makes them more confident in conversations. And you would also find, obviously, there would be the telepathic bond crystals for keeping in touch when different people are going different ways, or when you want to talk privately in the business room to each other without other people listening in. And it would be worth 5,000 gold pieces as you're looking at it.
I think she would look at that and then immediately just... her eyes shift into appraising the security of this place.
So, there are two main problems you can see. One is these crystals are behind a very thick layer of glass. And two, there are Gadfellow constructs made of gilded, like, gold and other materials with modern firearms that are actively looking at you.
I was gonna say, like, I can reach in with my shell and grab it, but I can't.
So the Gadfellows are positioned in a way where they're each of the corners of the floor you're on, there's a space for them to stand where they can see everyone and everything. So everything is kind of more in the center. So they're kind of to the back of you, Adhira, two of them. And it's quite early, it's raining. You aren't the only person in Adhira, but you're one of the only people in here. The attention is not spread too well. It is upon you.
I may have to phone a friend on what other places I know in the city at a later time. I think this is where I get like the text from in the group chat. And her reaction is just basically summed up as like, oh, cool, more free food. She's not going to say no.
No, why would you?
To food. Especially expensive food that she doesn't have to pay for. She will also get the message from Clara and be like, sure, would love to. By the way, do you know any places here in Empress that might sell rare crystals?
Do I know any places that might share rare crystals?
I don't think so, Clara, no. I mean, it's not the kind of thing you've looked for in the city, I don't think.
Miss and Becca, an apologetic shrug.
Oh no, they figured out emojis.
No, everything would be in ASCII. As you're moving out of the store, Adhira, one of the attendants at the door hands you a small crystal capsule and thanks you for visiting today.
You're welcome. Walking along, what does this capsule look like? You know, what does it do?
It's a capsule that makes you, your clothing, and kind of like everything else hydrophobic for 24 hours, so rain just rolls off of you.
Would that work if I jumped into a large body of water?
You would swim more efficiently and you would leave it dry, I would say. But
I am holding on to that.
yeah.
Marking that in my inventory. Hydrophobic crystal.
Technically, it's a powder
in
capsule.
Pride Month too.
Hydrophobic crystal in Pride Month. Saturday afternoon starts to roll around, like lunch has come and passed. Mistel would stop by, obviously, the dorms to see Clara. I don't know if Adhira, you were going to go shopping with those two as well.
I would.
Yeah? Okay. Does anyone... So I know that's what you three are doing. Does anyone know what else they want to do? Obviously, Caliban, you were going to take it easy that day. Finally, no one disturbs you, so you can if you want to that evening.
All right.
I think I'm eventually going to track down Dafer and make him read his messages.
Yeah, where would Dafer be when Uther finds him?
I mean, I would have been at the workshop. I think in the cooking club, bottling up the simmered down stew at that point, ready to carry that over to the matron's church.
So yeah, you find Dafer in the communal club room kitchens, basically bottling something up.
Dafer, you have messages.
What do you mean messages?
Just going to gesture at the crystal tablet device. It has a message.
Oh. Actually, didn't bother booting that thing up since I last picked it apart. Let me just.
You took it apart?
Yeah, didn't you?
No, because I didn't want to break it.
It's not too bad. It's pretty easy to put together. It's fine.
Dafer, give me a quick Arcana.
Helps.
Just for me.
I mean, I would have perfectly recalled where everything was.
Yeah, no. I'm more interested in something else.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Dafer, yours is the only one with snake on it now.
Did Dafer just install a game on it? Or...
Yes, Dafer added snake to his crystal tablet.
Oh my god.
Oh, because I can.
Because you could.
Powerful.
But yeah, 1 second. We have dinner tomorrow?
Yeah.
What do you mean? We had plans for tomorrow. What the fuck?
So we thought. It is late in the evening.
What is going on in Caliban's empty head?
Oh, if we only could tell.
I really wanted it to smash cut at that moment to Caliban sat in his room with Flight of the Valkyries playing with aviation goggles on and him just sat there in an armchair.
Yeah, I'll internalize that into my head.
He dreams of being a pilot.
I mean, either that thing is empty or is just entirely incapable of realizing that people other than him exist. What the hell? Okay.
I don't know how we're swinging this. I don't know if we're postponing what we were potentially getting into tomorrow for that, or if we're just going to get our asses beat at some point and then go have a nice dinner later.
Asses beat? What are you on about? Tomorrow is just another day.
No. No, Axel was debating doing some additional things Sunday, I think. Depending on if I turn over some research to him or not.
Second, short time out for me to play it. Did I forget that we had something brewing on Sunday, or did I not know?
There were conversations.
In general, as a character.
There were conversations about you guys and Axel going to a warehouse to investigate it. It'd come up a few times, I think, but it never got hard yes or no'd, I think.
Okay. You're telling me, I think Dafer, in absence of a hard confirmation of us doing anything, actually had assumed we wouldn't be doing anything, because if we were doing anything, we would have talked about it more than 24 hours before it would happen.
Wow, that's a lot of faith in Axel's time management, but okay.
So Dafer would be like, okay, I had actually planned on doing the dinner with Sigrid, but like, what?
Oh, you're just going to die. She is going to break you. Got it.
I don't. I will live somehow. Okay.
I will say.
So what?
I don't think this is a mandatory thing. I think this is a getting to know everyone thing. So, like, you could, in theory, just no-show.
So, okay, so just let me get this straight. So, tomorrow evening, we have this dinner organized by Caliban's somewhat, I guess, maybe girlfriend, if he can actually find it in himself to care about somebody else. And
I don't think either of those two have the social skills to make a jump that far.
That is actually not too far off. Okay, and that is to foster good relationships between our teams. Sigrid is gonna hate me, but I can't, like...
You
can't
could
be the one that makes this worse.
You could do a lunch with her.
Sure, but when do you propose we do that, when supposedly at that lunchtime that you just mentioned we might be getting our asses beaten in some kind of deep warehouse that I know anything about? I thought so.
If we can do the warehouse in the morning, you can do the lunch and then have time to recover for dinner.
I mean, the two of you can go and find Axel if you want right now.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that might actually be helpful for planning.
Okay. You head to Axel's office. Knocking on the door, he would yell for you to come in. Opening it up, it is a lot of unfinished paperwork. There are a myriad of different crystals and other things that are kind of, I don't want to say disorganized, but chaotically organized into different spaces around him as well.
He knows what's in this pile.
Yeah, he knows what's in the pile, but anyone looking at the pile would be like, I don't think any of those should fall off and hit the ground real hard. As you walk...
Are we interrupting something?
As you walk in, he actually is doing paperwork at the moment as he's like folding up different requisition requests for the year 3s. Obviously, year 3 students basically have control over their own curriculum in the last year. They get to do what they want to do. They just use the school's resources, basically. So he's sat there, like, signing and stamping things as you walk in. Looks up and says, "Oh, thank the goddess. What is it?"
We can come back. This is important.
It'll get done. What is it?
Apparently, you're plotting a warehouse raid?
He nods and says, I wasn't sure when you were all ready to do it. I can do it now, or I can do it tomorrow.
I'm going to hand him my folder of notes that I've been compiling then.
And just paper, thank you.
It's nothing to sign, it's something to read.
Starts flicking through it and says, I knew some of this, but some of it's surprising. Keeps like flicking through as he's looking at it.
I just think it's a interesting and or concerning pattern.
It's quite the shopping list, as it were.
That last thing there is new to me, and I don't see why that, of all things, would be on the hold-up list.
I mean, I know a lot of these get deployed down in the Dudecop region. If you think about it, there's a lot of space. It's kind of like a corridor as it goes past the eastern cities. There's a straight shot down. They get laid in clusters along the way just to see if we can catch anything. But, yeah, I mean, it's useful, but it's not anything impressive, as it were. I mean, they're easy to manufacture.
I mean, timing-wise, my personal... Yeah, apologies.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
Timing-wise, my personal preference would be, I don't know, this evening or sometime after I bring my weekly meal to the matron's church. That will leave me tomorrow some free time.
Have you cooked for that already, or do you need to cook in the morning?
It's already prepped. Essentially, I was almost in the process of finding involuntary helpers to carry.
Well, on the plus side, this warehouse is in that direction.
We could maybe assist you in dropping it off and then head to the warehouse.
How long are we assuming this will roughly take? I promised Fiona to give her some rude introductions.
I have allegedly heard that it is a multi-story underground warehouse.
It is, but if there's no immediate threat, no conflict, Dayfra, you can always leave and turn around. We'd only need you there if, there was something to clash up against. Most fights don't last too long.
That works for me.
Alright, in which case we'll go tomorrow morning.
In that case, you actually don't. If we go tomorrow instead of this evening, then I'm fine time-wise.
Yeah,
it's just actually, yeah.
Yeah, Sunday morning works for me, as long as it works for the rest of your class.
Okay. All right.
I will query the group.
Ping.
What
Notably, David still has
we being asked to do?
Investigate a warehouse.
I have D&D on Sunday morning.
Hold up.
No, I couldn't resist.
I'm now imagining a weird recursive D&D game where we sit down to play your characters playing D&D every Sunday morning.
Oh my god.
I roleplay as me, role-playing as Axel, role-playing as a GM.
Yeah. It wouldn't even be too unlikely because students are the kind of people that will play that game.
Yeah.
Okay. essentially raiding, not investigating / raiding if it comes to a violent altercation. A warehouse suspected for having something to do with why Dual Cop isn't getting the things it should be getting.
Yep, that covers it.
And vice versa.
Clara's gonna query, are you sure you want to do this on a day we're going out?
It's in the morning, we just all clean up and wash up afterwards.
Clara's gonna text, just like in all lowercase, didn't Uther get stabbed the last time we went out? Question mark.
I got better.
The scarf's red for a reason.
He met a girl!
He met a girl.
It's technically accurate.
She's our friend now!
That girl even gifted him something.
That's a stretch.
She's Clara's friend.
That's a stretch.
But it's there, so it's not too far off.
As I'm texting this, I'm heading back to the dorms to pick up the 2 pieces of jewelry I have left from Underground.
Mm-hmm.
Part of my argument is going to be Axel's been bugging me about it, and Dafer is double booked on dinner obligations. I'm trying to figure out what we're doing.
Clara's gonna clarify, I will go if everyone else is going, but let the record show I think this timing sucks.
David down there, you tell me. I will have to prep lunch somewhere between those two.
I didn't double book myself.
Axel, I think they're going to kill us. Axel, I think
I'm
they're going to kill us. They're going to hide the bodies.
In lowercase, can we keep whatever we find in this warehouse if it's
oh my
illegal?
fucking god.
I imagine that also being a text message.
It's legal to
It
steal
was.
from a thief, right? Question mark. Ask the thief.
I have suddenly become every movie. It's I need to get $5,000 by the end of this weekend.
Too early for these moral quandaries.
I am not the
David
cricket in your
writes-
pocket. I cannot answer that
Right,
question.
you are so lucky that Axel is
my
not part
pocket.
of this group chat.
It's time for us to engage with the plot of Dodgeball, the movie.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Axel's trading method be like.
Throws a wrench
You
at
really
Caliban.
would just throw wrenches at Caliban. I think Caliban would fucking take it though. Caliban would just
I make a constant become immune to wrenches.
Caliban wrench hits him square in the forehead. He blinks one eye at the time, completely unharmed.
You make him sound like an iguana.
I don't know. It just seems right.
Freaky test tube kid.
Okay.
So,
I'm actively vocalizing to Axel that they are going to murder us. We need to hide.
Axel will just shrug and say they can get in line.
Okay, so Sunday morning it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Then I need to hurry and prep some material.
Okay, so you rush off to do that. Mistel will arrive at the dorms. She has her umbrella. She's wearing a kind of kind of like a casual suit, I guess is the best way I would describe it. Like a gold, half gold, half green type suit that she's wearing. But yeah, she'll just say, I know a few places we can go shopping if what you're looking for outfits.
Just the one, but if this place is that fancy, I only really have one, fancy gown, and I've already worn it.
Yeah, you can't wear it again.
I mean, I will. I just have to leave it some time first.
She nods
Camera
and says,
hands over.
"No, that makes sense. The dress is on cooldown."
Wait.
Respect.
And Hira looking between these two, like...
Are you coming as well, Atira?
Yes, I shall. I sort of brought some things that I need to get appraised somewhere, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
And what are you looking to sell?
Jewelry. From an underground civilization that has been lost to time.
As you guys are walking together, she looks at you and says, "Isn't that kind of stuff priceless?"
Yeah.
Everything has its price.
I hope to get good money for it.
So do you want me
Or
to
at least
take...
only have...
Do you want me to take you to a museum? Or...
Museum won't get, ask questions?
Well, how do you think they get their artifacts? Someone's got to provide them.
Yeah, you won't be the first person that's turned up with strange artifacts.
Okie dokie.
Gosh, you just can't ask somebody about their artifacts.
She pulls out her already torn apart and put back together crystal tab as well. Hers doesn't have snake, but she does have a map thing that she has added to hers. So she takes a look at it and some of her notes and says, "There's a museum in the Sage District, and that's not far from some of the shops I've been to."
That sounds good. Quick question, straight to the DM. What's the percentage of the engineering students, like the moment they get their tablet, it immediately gets jailbroken?
I'm gonna go somewhere between 100 and 120%.
Nice.
We can mod
Not
this.
only their tablets, but everyone else's tablets. They can get a hold of.
Yes,
It's
so
the first assignment.
it wouldn't be uncommon for people to take their crystal tablets to the engineering kids to be like, "Can I get Snake on this?" Yeah, so yeah, absolutely.
Kathy was trapped down in the city playing Snake.
Good for her.
Mistel will take you on the train to the Sage District. This is where you were recently anyway, Atira, so you actually know a little bit of the direction around here Caliban's shown you. You do end up going in a different way. You're going southeast instead of north, kind of northish. But yeah, she'll take you to... Oh, go on.
I will ask her if she's ever been to that central library.
She nods and says, the central console's a little spooky, I will say.
I was going to ask that too. It was like it was reading my mind.
I think it does. I think it has access to your thoughts as context for the queries that you're writing. I think that has some unintended consequences. It means that I think it seems more spooky than perhaps it is. You know what I mean?
It makes things a lot more personal when you just sort of have a question. Oh, was this person responsible for this? It's like, no, but they were there. It doesn't come across as a book. It feels like I'm actually talking to someone.
In some sense, it's like having a private lecturer, I guess.
I think Adhira is just kind of freaked out because one day someone's going to ask a question about her and they'll get a live response saying, "Yes, she took that thing."
Is this
just sort of side-eye look at Clara?
Is this the jewelry?
Yes.
I mean, technically that was free for the taking, so I can't say anything about that one.
I mean...
That one?
Well, the city didn't really stop me then. I mean, it tried to stop us later, but not because of the jewelry.
She'll look at the two of you, but not say anything. You guys walk up these big, wide steps into a museum. She shakes off the umbrella outside, and as you step in, there are artifacts from the Zemesian waste here. So there are some of the most intact sculptures and paintings of the goddess are on display in the immediate chamber you walk into. There is a 20-foot tall carving of a dragon that has had the scales added back onto it from extracted scales from a dragon. So it's like a statue of a dragon where they've added the pieces of the dragon back in, including the teeth and the claws and all that. Secretary at the desk looks up and says, would you like a ticket for today?
No, I would like to see if anyone would be willing to. And she kind of like trails off looking for the word, turns back towards Mistel and Clara for help on what she should say.
Mistel looks
succinctly.
At the secretary and says, we're EK's in training. We've just had some away missions. My friend here found some artifacts while she was there. She's wondering if she can be reimbursed for their discovery. The secretary nods and says, please wait here for a second. And she hits a little button on her desk and a signal goes off to somewhere. But yeah, she stops and like slides over to one side while you guys wait. Eventually, a older gentleman in... It's very like... It's like the clothing Caliban wears to fancy events, but it's a bit more business pulled in, a little less decorative. It's kind of the style at the time of this session. He's got kind of like balding on the top and then long grey hair. Actually, has anyone here seen Invincible? There's Cecil Stedman, is it? Where he's got like the long hair around his head, but nothing on the top. It's kind of like that. He doesn't have the facial scarring or anything like that. He walks over and says, I am understanding one of you has something you wish to have appraised.
Yes, that would be me.
Please, come with me. Your friends can come along. He walks into like a little side room with different things to look at, like little microscope things and viewing glasses and all that sort of stuff, and says, what is it you've discovered?
I'm going to put out the big emerald necklace. Huge central thing. I think that's how you described it.
Yeah, it's like a huge medallion, kind of like a city mayoral medallion, yeah.
And I'm going to sit down in front of him. I am holding off on showing the bracelet first, because ideally she wants to get enough money from this and then keep the bracelet as a personal.
The innate opulence of the object doesn't seem impressive to him. It isn't uncommon for things that far back to be wildly opulent like this, with the gold and the emeralds. The goddess could conjure materials into existence. Most of the gold and things like that ever came into being is actually through spells of the goddess. It didn't naturally form in this world. The goddess conjured most of the gold that has ever existed in the world. So most of that has been repurposed and reprocessed from artifacts. So he, innately when he's looking at it, he's not overly impressed at what he's looking at. But he does check it and says, it is authentic. It hasn't been recast, which is good. He looks at you and says, and from where has this come?
This pauses me trying to think. We didn't get any proper name for this city.
No. Well, maybe. I just can't remember off the top of my head, but there was a name for it that I think was given, because the name of the city was written somewhere. So I know I mentioned it at some point. But, I mean, you can say under Calderis or something.
Yeah. A just now officially discovered city from under Calderis.
It is here that his eyes light up a little. He gets him like a little chair, opens up a drawer, and then pulls out a big tome and starts flicking through it. It's more like a logbook of things that they have. And says, we have a few artifacts that were sent here by Miss Vesper, but nothing quite like this. I had read in the... there are papers going around saying that she finally discovered that city she was looking for. This is most excellent news. Is there anything else from there? Perhaps this is part of a set, or...
She visibly hesitates before going. It wasn't part of a set, but there was this. She reaches in, pulls out the bracelet with the unique pattern on it.
takes a look at it, notes it, and says, "This symbology must be unique to the area. I don't really recognize it. I would be willing to purchase both for you for display in the museum for 20,000 gold pieces."
You know that scene from Futurama where he goes to his bank and it's like, oh yeah, with interest you have like 12 million dollars, and she just starts crawling. There is that. Yeah, I think someone from her background cannot say no to that. Like that's you.
It's like you're still wearing one of those artifacts yourself, right? On top of those two.
No, I gave...
You gave one to Andress.
I gave one to Andress.
Mistle raises the hand and says, "Is that 10,000 per object?" He shakes his head and says, "No, the bracelet's probably worth closer to 15,000, whereas the larger amulet and emerald is 5,000. I would obviously prefer to have the bracelet over either, but I can understand if it's sentimental to you. I understand that EKs become quite attached to the objects that they find while they're out on missions. Perhaps if one of these objects you do not wish to sell, you might allow us to display it for some time before it's returned to you. At the very least, we'll mark it as being on loan from you and return it to you in due course."
Could work. I mean, it's still
Sell the amulet, loan the bracelet?
I could sell the amulet and then loan the bracelet. How much would that give me?
It would give you 5,000 for the amulet, and they'd pay you like 100 gold for having the bracelet on display for a bit, which they'll then return to you. Obviously, if something bad happens to the bracelet, they'll pay you in excess of the 15,000 if, you know, something miraculously bad happens and it disappears or whatever, but it shouldn't, but he'll just mention that anyway.
I think she'll do that because she needs the 5,000 now, and then at the later date, she may be convinced to sell it full price to the museum.
Okay. He seems happy that he's going to be able to display it. Obviously, he would have loved to have both pieces, but is understanding. It's like, would you like me to transfer it to a crystal card you have, or would you like a separate crystal card for this amount?
Crystal card that I have.
Okay. He takes the crystal card you have, taps it against the thing, and there is 5,100 pieces added to the card, which he then slides back across to you.
Nice.
Clara's gonna wait until Adhira seemed happy with her money. On that topic, actually, if you're going to be displaying at least one of these pieces, I do have something else to offer.
Oh, he sits up. What is it?
Clara's gonna shrug off her cardigan and show him the tattoo she got from the Graal, because she hasn't used hers. While we were exploring that place, we came across a civilization. I spoke to them. I have some of their stories, their artwork, and this. It's a tattoo imbued with their power. I don't require such things as payment. Obviously, this is not an artifact you could display forever. But if perhaps you would like some information to go and give it some context, I would be willing to provide that for you.
Of course, if we could take a copy of the symbology that they've, the markings they've placed upon you, and any information you'd like to deliver. I'm sure that someone here will pay a small amount for the write-up at the very least.
Of course. If you so desire, obviously you will need some time to set up an exhibition of sorts. I can provide you paintings of the town and the things in it, the creatures that gave me this tattoo, including some esoteric creatures, a bone dragon.
You're saying these are creatures you saw as a first-hand account as well?
Yes. My entire EK team. We can all vouch for it. One of my other, I suppose, companions has a similar tattoo, though I believe the power on his is spent.
Did you...
Wait, no, I didn't use it.
Never mind, the power on his is not spent either.
You were shadows to Vespers, is that correct? Are you part of the group that discovered the city that is beneath Calderis?
That's correct.
Yes.
That is enough providence. He thinks for a moment and says, if you were to supply these artworks, the notes, the copies of the symbology that you have been marked with by this Graal, we'd be happy to pay you somewhere in the realm of 300 to 500 gold pieces for, well, depending on the quality of artworks and the notes given, we could give more, but I would say around 500 gold pieces seems more than reasonable.
I agree. Thank you. If she's gonna, I suppose, write down her contact details. This is the best way to get into contact with me, or you could do so through East Academy, where all of our team is currently training.
He nods, takes the note down and says, East Academy, of course.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're so glad to have done business with you today.
I look forward to seeing you again in the future. I like to maintain a good working relationship with EKs. It is yourselves that venture into the unknown and discover such important artifacts. Please, I hope you either have a look around today or at least come back at some time in the future. When the display is up, when the information has been given over, I'll send you all a letter to let you know that your display is in place.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Nods, keeps the artifacts, keeps the bracelet, and he'll obviously Adhira will send you a note when you can come and pick the bracelet back up to be released back into your possession. But yeah, he'll have it for like a couple of weeks or something like that.
Okay. I have to steal I have to archaeology more.
But yeah. You will leave the museum.
That belongs in a museum.
I can feel the gears turning in Adhira's head. I was
15,000?
like, don't even think about it.
Just picture the monetary amount you just gifted your angel boy. Just picture.
It. He's worth it.
He's worth it.
He's a sugar baby.
As you're all walking out of the museum and Mr. opens up the umbrella, she looks at you here and says, "You really didn't bargain at all, did you?"
No. I don't really come from this sort of lifestyle.
I think it was plenty anyway, but I'm just shocked. Normally I would see someone, ask what was going on. I saw you about to say yes immediately. I thought, I hope you don't mind me stepping in and clarifying.
No, it was for the best. I will have to go out on more excursions together in the future.
Oh, yes, that would be nice.
Can I do an inside check?
Yeah, go ahead.
This girl don't got many friends, do she?
I don't know if you need to roll that dice.
Brutal.
In a sense, in this moment, she doesn't think you're being friendly, Adhira. She believes she has utility to you. So in this moment, even now, she doesn't think she has friends. But yeah.
We're gonna go shopping and we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah, you guys go shopping. There are several very nice stores around here that Mistle goes to. She's obviously not lacking in funds from home either. But yeah, there are a bunch of nice places to shop here. Mistle just says, we'll be on a ship. I believe it's open to the elements. I'm a little worried about the rain, but I'm sure they've got some sort of provision against it. There must be something they're doing, but still, don't wear anything that... no big floppy hats or anything like that.
Big fluffy
Seems
hats.
smart.
You know, like the sun hats, Satiro. Surely you have sun hats where you're from. There's so much sun.
I don't know if we do. We all live underground. That's the thing. Maybe some of the get-go runners would wear something like that.
A what?
A get-go. It's a big lizard. It can move along walls, but can run really fast over sand.
Like a horse lizard.
Kind of. You put a saddle on them and you ride along their back. It's a little bit different to horse riding from what I hear. You're so much lower to the ground, your center of gravity has to be completely different.
And then you have to be able to hold on in case the lizard sees a canyon and wants to go sideways.
I suppose this is the kind of thing I can look forward to learning soon.
DM, what was the name of that lizard that Obi-Wan rode?
Now it's a get-go, obviously. I actually can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I don't know why I can't remember, because I should be able to.
It's a boga, right?
Yeah,
A boga. That is it.
It's got some, yeah.
I don't know what the species is, but that's its name.
But yeah, I don't know if there's anything particular you guys would be looking for, or...
I would tile. Sorry, I was looking up what the lizard was called.
I was like, what?
I was trying to work out what kind of clothing that was for a good, like, 10 seconds. My brain was like... I mean, I don't know everything, but...
Oh.
It was apparently a herbivore.
I doubt that very much.
Bro has forward-facing eyes. Fuck you.
I don't make the wiki. I'm just saying what the wiki says.
That's an omnomnomnivore if I've ever seen one.
A reptavian is what they're called. That's a very neat little classification.
I'd say most of the clothes here are probably somewhere around 100 gold pieces.
Clara's gonna blink. Gosh, you shop here all the time?
Mm-hmm. This is the only place that does gloves that fit just right.
Is she wearing gloves now?
Yes.
Do you always wear gloves?
Oh, yes.
Why is that? Is it just sort of like a feeling?
I don't like directly having hand contact with anything. It makes me uncomfortable. Gloves is like a... I don't know. Plus, I like the way they look.
Well, if you stick around Clara's, what are you calling it? The Flang Club?
The Flang Club.
Maybe there'll be something you'll want to pet with your own hands.
Yes, maybe. Her face says no, there won't be. I should have to roll for that.
There is also deemed to be something that we will share after the session.
Mistle says, I would like to purchase whatever we buy this evening.
You sure?
Well, yes, yes.
The invitation said that you were taking us out for dinner, though. Are you sure you want to pay for both?
I'm being sent an amount of money. I don't know what to do with it. Please just let me do something nice with it.
If that's what you want.
She nods, says, I've never been given something like this from home before. I don't know, it makes me uncomfortable seeing it just sat around.
Well, what good is money if you can't spend it on your friends, I suppose? And Clara's gonna like turn on her heel and start looking through the nearest rack of clothing.
She's doing the like fish thing where she like opens her mouth to say something and then closes it and then opens it and then closes it, but then like nods and then follows after.
What sort of outfit does Clara find? Or look for?
What would I wear to an open-top restaurant that is fancy and on a boat?
I'm gonna buy khaki shorts and complain when I get cold.
Mistel will buy a kind of like, basically like a variant on the outfit she has, but like something that's a bit more for evening, kind of like a evening wear suit type thing that she'll put on. And then she buys another set of new gloves that contrast the outfit by being the exact opposite color of the outfit itself.
I don't know if Clara knows how to buy things without patterns. I feel like everything she owns is patterned.
Gonna get some tartan.
I don't eat tartan. As much as it hurts me to say this, I would not describe tartan as general like cocktail attire. At least not for women. I feel like men could get away with that.
Mistel will say, there's some patterns from Dudicop on outfits over here.
You know what? Why don't you choose?
Really?
Well, you're being gracious enough to buy them. You can pick out a couple of options if you like. I'll try them on for you, and you can pick your favorites.
She nods. Okay. Yeah, she'll pick out a kind of like... she'll go with something that's a bit more like trousers, belt, top, but all very nice flowing together with patterns that complement from the top to the bottom despite being not exactly made for each other, with like the big sort of shoulders where there's a lot of space for your arm to kind of stick out and there's like a lot of extra fabric there. And then
nice.
She'll probably also go for something similar to what she's wearing because she cannot resist a nice form-fitting suit when she sees it. And we'll pick out like a kind of like a woman's evening wear suit with a big doo-doo cop symbol on the back, but otherwise being somewhat uniform in color.
Nice.
I think either of these would fit you well, especially with your hair color.
Yeah, that's kind of stand out here. It's not so uncommon at home, but... Well, actually, now that I think about it, both Datha and Uther are redheads.
It's
Perhaps not quite as orange as I am, though.
more common amongst the men of Dudukop than it is the women, but yes, we do have our redheads.
I think I'll go for the first one.
Very
This
well.
belt and outfit feels a little bit more me.
It does sort of match the outfit I see you wearing sometimes at the academy. That's why I picked it out.
You've got a good eye.
I try. Have you found anything, Atiri?
I'm browsing. I think there is a sort of such a wide option for her. She's not used to looking through this sort of stuff, but I think she will settle on something form-fitting and in black and gold.
You know, I think gold might be your color.
I'm happy that it is. We Lamshi really do have a very defining trait of precious metal colors here and there, and thankfully, I was blessed with gold.
She nods. She'll buy both the outfits you guys pick out and something for herself, and then head back towards the academy. She says, this was nice. I've not been out like this with anyone in some time.
Yeah, you're right. It was cute.
You do this more often.
I suppose you both left most of your friends and close ones behind where you grew up.
I'm making friends. And here is finding boys.
I had some friends, but not back in where I'm from. I do miss them.
Maybe we could go back and see them one day. Besides, at the last festival, there was that ticket to basically book a vacation.
Kira, yeah? I don't mean to spoil the mood, but there is a rumor going around that you used a crystal to charm Andress.
Who started that rumor?
I don't want to name names because I've mostly just heard people bringing it up, or at least people asking each other if it's true. I obviously didn't believe it, but I just thought, well, with Clara bringing up boys, and I know who she meant. I thought you should know.
I'm tickled that they're already starting rumors, but no, I was scared of him at first. There was something off-putting about the powers that surrounded him. And, well, I had my own powers, and for a certain moment we found a connection and went from there. A shared sense of, I don't even know how to put it. But no, I didn't charm him.
Well, other than with yourself. No magic.
That I did. I will admit, I some natural charms here and there.
Still, that's quite a bitter rumor to start. Jealousy is such an ugly disease.
It seems Andress was quite popular, especially with you all arriving a little later in the year. A lot of people had already set their sights.
They see him more as the chosen one. I try not to. I try to be fair and just see him as hunters.
I tried talking to him once. I admit I had ulterior motives. I thought I could forge an alliance between the two of us. I thought perhaps with my noble bearing and his prophecy we could create somewhat of a no unstoppable team, but he didn't seem to like the attention, as it were, or I mean, I get the impression he doesn't much like being around people. You know, always has the scarf up. Kind of like that Uther kid in your class.
Uther, the darndest things.
I think he also kind of likes being around people, but he has a very unique way of interacting with the world.
He looked at some building not too long ago and he asked me how I would, theoretically go about breaking into it.
Well, you did steal those artifacts, right?
Is it stealing if the people who owned them and the store have been dead for thousands of years?
Oh, they were liberated.
Sorry, you did liberate those artifacts.
I liberated them, well.
For money.
For money, for funds.
No, I definitely took them at
Gosh,
first.
it's all so
nice,
noble.
And we kind of like cut away.
Clara on the arm.
Cut away from the three of you laughing in the train carriage in the underground as you're heading back to the academy. Uther, that Saturday evening, was there anything in particular you're up to?
No, just relaxation.
Yeah, just chilling. I will say, on the painted runes, as you've gotten halfway through that, there are some example things that you can do with it I can give you now.
Ooh.
So you can use it to paint runes on the floor, and it will highlight the footprints of anyone who's walked over that area for the last 24 hours. And it will, like, glow up, you know, the shoe size that they are and other things like that. There's a set of runes that will turn sand into stone, or like, it won't transmute it, but it will make it so a section of 5 foot by 5 foot sand is as if it were stone.
Okay.
There's purifying food and drink. Turning a message that's written down into something only certain people can see. And then, can you give me an Arcana check?
I sure can.
You also realize you could use it to paint symbols onto the bottom of, like, shoes or something like that, and essentially turn them into water walk shoes for a while, until eventually the water washes the paint off, but it will last for a while until that happens.
Okay, but now I'm wondering how that would interact with, like, a small, like, thin barrier of something else.
Yeah, you could probably use it to make, like, a surfboard raft type thing, yeah.
Paint it on, then wax it real good so it doesn't get washed off as easy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's something to play with later.
And Dafer, that Saturday evening, what were you up to?
One thing that was finishing up notes. I mean, I had been preparing the stew, which I had only planned on having simmer for like 2 to 3 hours, so I would have.
Oh, you heading to the church today, basically. Yeah.
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 During noon, and but before that, I would have prepped just basic teaching material just on the fly for Fiona for learning carving runes into wood and doing something with that, because I think that I can teach more easily on the fly as opposed to rune stitching, which I'm still acquiring myself.
Yeah, of course. Heading to the church, dropping off the food. It's obviously received, and everyone is excited to see you. Fiona doesn't seem too disappointed that you haven't got the stuff for stitching. Mm-hmm. She's just excited that you brought her something new to show her. Give me an Arcana check, Dafer.
Okay. I should really look into teaching methods at some point.
18. The two of you sit down together and you spend a couple of hours kind of like telling her what to do and her going through the motions. Occasionally some of the finer details, Dafer, you need to fill in for her. But by the end of it, you have a set of runes that basically do the magic mouth thing where you can speak into it and then it will speak it back if you like touch a certain part or like tap a piece of the wood together. So basically she can like record messages, like she yells boo into it and then she taps it and it yells back boo, and she like jumps as she drops it and it yells boo as it clatters to the ground, but she starts laughing afterwards and picks it up and tries different things that she can make with this wooden toy. But yeah, she sits and she learns with you.
I have brought just a couple wood discs, even if it costs me material costs, and a beginner's carving set for those runes that I could just leave with her. And do tell me the monetary amount that costs me.
I would say it probably costs you about 20 gold pieces, all in all, for like the kit more than the materials.
Yeah, I assume the kit I just swipe from the workshop.
Yeah, you just drop some coins to like reimburse them for it, basically.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, so by the end of that lesson, I just pull out the remaining wooden discs that I have with me, and tell her, right, because you have learned so well today, I'll leave these with you, and the wooden kit, And when I'm back next week, you can show me what you've experimented with yourself by then.
She nods. She gives you like a little salute.
Aww. Now, I'm looking forward to next week.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
I'll see you then. And you'll have the stitch and stuff?
I'll see if I can get it done by then.
Mm. And then she looks towards this disc and like starts like chewing on her thumb as she's thinking about what it is she wants to do with this material she's been given.
Mm-hmm. Eating mini child terrorists is so nice.
The frisbee of doom.
It hits things, it goes bark.
Bark, 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 bark. like Captain America's shield, but it barks every time it bounces off something.
Oh my god.
Just makes a different animal sound with every impact.
Oh god, I'm imagining it, but making like Ed, Ed and Eddie sound effects.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see like Captain America fighting on that boat in like the second movie. And just like every time he winds up, the shield goes. The cow says, "Moo."
I think it's even funnier if it does include the actual noise of them getting like boinked off as well. Bark.
And just
Dude flies into the ocean.
Just combine that with that actually giving a buff. Like every time it hits, it triggers a new animal that gives you some kind of animal aspect boon.
Or it's like a thunder wave.
That would be a weird way to trigger Beast Totem.
Just like a little animal disc that you tap. The cow says moo. I now have 20 foot extra when I dash for my charge. Okay.
Create milk.
Create milk. Give me 1 second. I think that's Saturday.
Bear says I'm all you now.
So the question...
I do have my dinner date.
Oh, yeah, my bad, thank you. Meeting up with Andress. Yeah, he would come over to the dorm, dressed for dinner, head in, have to deal with some of the year twos asking about what's going on, and him kind of pulling up his scarf further and further as they continue to be like, I see. When are you back? Like, eventually Atira, you would come out though and rescue him as he looks at you and says, Atira, shall we go?
Yes, let's.
Heading outside, he pulls the scarf down a little, and casts a spell that kind of conjures a barrier of stars that just deflects the rain from above as it pours off to either side. Looks at you and says, "They'll light the way as well. There's some sections between us and there that have no lights on at the moment."
My starry night keeping me safe. Kind of just sort of play into it and...
Well, judging by the last time we fought, I'm not sure I'm the one keeping you safe.
Who knows? Maybe we'll go out on a mission someday and you'll get your chance.
You hit me with that one spell. I think it rattled my teeth. I remember feeling it pretty much in my bones for the last few days, but...
Which one? There are quite a few.
I don't know, I remember there was darkness, and the next thing I knew, the energy I was using to protect myself had been dispersed. I remember feeling the impact roll through my everything, really.
Those are fun. I enjoy being able to spar with others and it not feel like a
life or death situation.
Life or death.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's nice to know how things measure up. I don't know if you've ever been in conflict with anyone who doesn't have a shell, but it's different. They can't do anything. It's enough to make you feel like nothing can stop you, and then Then you come across something like a large miasmic, and then all of a sudden you realize that maybe you're not the biggest thing in the world. I guess it's a reality check, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. We did have that bone dragon. And the thing controlling the bone dragon. It's not something you can fight.
Nods. Says, so, what have you been up to with your weekend so far? Off fighting crime?
Not yet. I think that's on the menu for tomorrow morning.
He nods.
Raiding a warehouse, but mostly shopping and getting things appraised, sold.
Oh, something you found from your mission?
Yes, one of the, well, I'm lending the small gold bracelet, but I sold the, really nice necklace medallion for a large amount of money, but that will then go towards securing a crystal that will be used for a project, which will then be used to hopefully protect your team from the Sonic.
He blinks a couple of times as he looks at you and says, you're doing something for our team?
Well, as much as I would like to take completely selfless answer, I do want to protect you, and also I would like to see if you two guys can safely kill that thing and bring back any of its remains should it be a divergent. But
right, I forgot.
Yes,
that
it would
you
be
were
nice for my.
after pieces.
It would be nice if you all weren't killed in your sleep by something.
Well, that would never happen anyway.
How so?
Well, I mean, I've got a destiny to fulfill.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't watch out for your friends.
You're right.
Also, might I add, she kind of throws an arm around. You looked so hot with that defiant glare on your face as you shielded them from the spells.
Very, like, brain turns off, like, nod slow, and, you always look incredible.
Thank you. Now, how are you with spicy food?
Pretty good, actually.
Great. Just wondering, it's not going to be the spiciest, but sort of introduced Defa, our cook, to some of the spices we used from the mints, and
I have not
didn't go over well with him.
eaten too much food from Laments, but I mean, obviously the spices have been coming here to the city, and I spent most of my life in the city, so I have eaten some. I'm looking forward to tasting food from your home.
It's gonna make me homesick. If I start tearing up a little, don't judge, okay?
I would never.
I guess we head to Spirit Parade. I have left Terminus with Clara.
Okay.
It's one
Sorry,
of those
Can I
things...
just clarify? Did you ask me before you made me babysit?
No.
Oh.
No, I walked in and I set him down by the slimes because he can sort of communicate with him. I would leave him alone in my room, but I would be closing the door, and I want to be able to give him the option to, like, leave. So, in Adhira's head, if she puts him in Clara's room, if he wants to get out and explore a little, you can always open a door for him. I don't want people opening my door.
You're a bad mother. This is leaving your children at daycare without warning them.
Okay, so I want to point out something. One, not a child. About like 10,000 years old. Even older.
It's funny because Terminus is probably sat with his like feet dangling off of your windowsill right now, Clara, saying, "I'm glad I can't have kids. This is awful."
This little Judas.
Play Man-Child by Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh,
He's like dangling with his head hanging off after that as he looks at you, Clara, and says, "We can trust Andrus, right?"
What type of question is that?
What
Do
if
you not trust him?
What if he's a secret spy working for the enemy? He could be a glowmite.
Now, call me crazy, but I think being labeled the Chosen One and having everyone have your eyes on him at all times would make him a pretty terrible spy.
No, you don't. It's the perfect disguise. No one would expect it. He's the savior.
No, see, you would think it's the perfect disguise, but you'd have to like double bluff it because everyone's like so focused on him as the savior. Like, when do you get to do your like shady stuff? Never, because there's always like 12 fangirls and then Adhera with a baseball bat.
I think you've just fallen for the clever ruse, Clara. I thought you were better than this.
I'm happy to disappoint.
See, Samara, you may not have had Sam for a bunch of campaigns, but this is actually probably the point where Waldorf starts updating his corkboard connection.
I think Adhera's going to break some kneecaps. I think that's the...
I think she will be fine and be able to laugh it off as long as they don't touch the button. Like there's like one or two very sensitive things that's gonna.
You both sit down for a meal that will cost you like 3 gold, something like that. It is in a kind of like basement in Little Laments where the place has been decorated up, so like sand has been packed into the walls, there are runes carved into it to make it sort of uneven. Lights have been threaded through the rafters of the ceiling, and then fabric is woven in between it. So the light kind of filters through the fabric, which gives the light different colors in different areas of the space down there. It's quiet, little tables that are tucked away from one another. The perfect place for 2 people to have a private conversation without anyone really listening in. The food reminds you very much of home. It is cooked by people that grew up where you came from and missed it just as much as you. The drinks are all sourced from the right places or brewed here in Little Laments using techniques that kind of are from home or have been modified in a way to at least mimic it as best as possible. It's a perfect evening, really, Adhera, as Andrus and you kind of sit tucked away. Is there anything in particular you'd want to say, or...
Kind of want to ask him like some personal questions about his life, but I also want to bring out the big question, and I don't want to risk souring the moment.
It's up to you. You can ask whatever you want.
I'm gonna broach it carefully and be like, so tell me about your family. What they like.
I would struggle to call them family, Adhera. I want to answer your question, but I don't want to spoil the mood.
Then don't.
He nods.
Have plenty of opportunities to talk about stuff like this another time.
I'll just say my parents did everything they could to make sure their child was the chosen one. And that's all that really mattered.
I guess my only question would be inciting that they were not good parents.
You could make an insight check. Adhera, you get the impression he maybe doesn't even know his parents to a degree. there's something strange going on. When he talks about it, he stares off into the distance as if like, the only other time you've seen someone look like this is whenever Axel talks about the the fifth house rebellion, fourth house rebellion. Like, he thinks about his childhood the same way someone who's been through war thinks about their time they served.
Reach over and sort of squeeze his hand.
Yeah, he kind of snaps out of it and looks at you and says, I'll talk about it someday, but maybe not when we're having a good time.
Great.
So, should we head back?
Yeah. I think they pay for everything walking back. And as they get closer, like, Adhira gets more and more fidgety until finally she asks, like, you enjoy doing this, right? You enjoy spending time with me.
Of course I do. I mean, why would I do it if I didn't enjoy it, Adhira?
I'm going to be honest. I don't really know if, well, I've hidden these things well enough, but I like you, Andres. I like being around you. I've never been what many would call a proper relationship before. But if given a chance, I would like to pursue one with you.
I love spending time with you as well, Adhira. Don't get me wrong when I say this, but let's try to avoid putting any sort of label on it for now. I know that's probably not what you want to hear. We all have a lot of responsibilities, and there are a lot of things that can go wrong. I'm sorry. I want to keep doing this.
Is it the prophecy?
It's a complicated thing, Adhira. I don't want you to get hurt.
I think despite all of her flaws, Adhira is good at masking certain portions, but she forces a smile, albeit one that's a bit sad, and lies that I understand.
Thanks. Thank you for understanding.
And I think they walk back together, but it is in silence.
Mm-hmm. Walks back quietly and says goodbye to you at the East Academy gates and heads back to his dorm.
Gonna watch him go before heading back to my own. She does not pick up Terminus. She goes straight to her room. There is a mental link, correct?
Between her and Terminus, yeah.
He can feel the worst mood that she's been in since ever.
Terminus looks at you, Clara, and says, I knew it. He's a spy. He's probably tried to kill
I mean this
Adhira.
in the nicest possible way, but you better tell me what you're talking about right this second, or I'm going to turn you into a shiitake mushroom.
Adhira's in a terrible mood. She must have had to kill him over dinner.
Are you capable of taking anything seriously?
I don't know.
Don't want him serious.
Last time he was serious, we had to falsify so many documents.
Whatever happened, she's hurt. I don't know how to deal with that very well.
Are you asking?
Well, I mean, as close friends, I thought you should know. I mean, it's... Whew,
Stay here. Don't do anything weird with the slimes.
just stares at you. Like...
Good. I'm gonna go next door and knock on the door.
Pulls herself out of a pillow. Or pulls her head out from a pillow, not out of a pillow.
Mm-mm.
Who is it?
It's me.
Gets up. Waddles over to the door. Opens it. Hi.
I could have known that something was wrong when you didn't come and pick up your creature. What's the short version?
He doesn't want to put any labels on it.
Just out of interest. Why?
He said it's complicated. I asked him if it was because of the prophecy. He said there's a bunch of things that go into it and he doesn't want to see me get hurt.
I'm going to ask this because I feel like I have to. But I feel like I also already know the answer. I'm taking it that you're not entirely happy with that outcome.
No. But...
No, shh. That's all I needed to know. She's gonna toss Adhira the keys to her room. But go and get your friend back when you've had enough time. I have something I need to do. And I'm gonna walk out of the dorm.
Yep. You walk out of the
Go
dorm.
yelling at him on my behalf.
Too late for that, buddy. You know exactly where I'm going.
You're gonna make me look like the person who immediately goes to complain to mother that the other kids were mean to me.
Yeah, heading to the year 1 dorms, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Knock on the door. It would be Andros that opens the door. He's probably like just got in, taken off his coat and stuff, and like sat down. He opens the door, seems a little shocked, and says, "Clara, I thought Hira might... can I help?"
We need to talk.
He steps outside and closes the door and says, "What is it?"
You know what it is.
She said that she was okay with it. I mean, she was quiet on the way back.
You are incredibly talented at a great many things. But I cannot fathom a world in which you believed earnestly that she was going to be okay with that. And that's not through any fault of your own. I'm not saying it was malicious, but that's wild to me.
He nods and says, "Perhaps I wanted her to be okay with that more than I believed it."
Empress, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to take a second before you answer. Actually think about it. When you say that you don't want to see someone get hurt, I want to ask you genuinely, do you believe trying to keep them at arm's length is going to make it hurt any less?
I don't know. Clara, I don't know what to do. This wasn't...
No,
This wasn't supposed to happen.
That's what I'm not sure I agree with. I've been on the other side of this. I can't say anyone called me a prophetic child, but I meant something to people. And I've played the game of keeping people away, thinking that it would be easier. I've turned the blind eye. I've chosen ignorance. And then one of the people I cared most for me in the entire world was taken from me before my eyes. You know what I think about most? It's not how it happened, or it's not wishing that it didn't happen. It's all the times that I thought it would be easier to just not share something. My brother had enough to worry about. He didn't need to know about this or that, or the boys I liked, or the birds I was keeping in my room. And when he was gone, the thing I felt stupid about most of all is that I never got to tell him. There are going to be things that hurt regardless. Your prophecy is a mystery that I cannot claim to comprehend. Ed here is, as close as I can say, bound to a spirit who's almost certainly going to get her in trouble. You can't mitigate disaster by not confronting it. You can't change the hurt by being scared of it. I don't want either of you to be in this position that I was in, that I am in. There are still things I don't talk about because the pain of remembering them is tantamount to plunging a knife right between your rib cage. If you think that perhaps it would be better that you see other people, then that's one thing. But pretending like it's going to be easier for anyone if you just don't try, well, I'm sorry, but it's incurably selfish.
I don't want to be for her what that pain of losing someone is to you. Clara, I'm going to die. For the path to the goddess to be lit, my star must fade. It's my life that brings her back. I wasn't supposed to find someone here. That was never my intent, but here she is. And it is selfish that I followed this path at all. And I'm trying to work out what it is I'm supposed to do next. You're right, I can't stop it from hurting her. But maybe it would be better for her if she had the opportunity to have something else instead. I'll tell her.
If you think, if that's what's going to happen, then ironically, I would say what you should do next is be selfish. The prophecy is written, or at least as you're telling me it, requires you to make the ultimate sacrifice for someone else. So why not make your time that you have left the best it can be? more than the hurt that I feel about my brother being gone, the thing that makes me keep moving is all the things I did say. It's all the times we snuck out of the house at midnight to go sit in groves and watch the moon as it slowly went from one side of the tree to the other. It's the times that we trained with Connor and ganged up on him because he was a better duelist than either one of us individually. It's fishing trips and catching fireflies and putting RF underneath people's beds so that they overslept their alarms and didn't understand why. I miss him because I had these moments. I still feel like he's with me because I have things to remember. Sure, it hurts to not have more of them, but if I didn't have any at all, it would have hurt a lot more. I'm not telling you what you should do, but when she came back and gave me the briefest of explanations, there's something I needed you to know before you make that sort of decision. If you still want to make it, it's not my place to change your mind. It's not my life, and it's for you two to decide. But I want you to make that decision with the most knowledge that you can. Because you're both good people. And you deserve the happiness you can get. And I would be remiss if I didn't offer what I could to help that. So I'm sorry for disturbing you just after you came home.
He wipes an eye and nods and says, "You're a good friend, Clara. Thank you."
Part of being a friend is knowing when someone else is hurting, sometimes you have to be the jackass. I'm okay with that, I think.
I meant to me. But yes, to Tira as well.
It still applies the same. I was
so.
harsh to you on her behalf, but I'm also harsh to you because I care.
He nods. Good luck with tomorrow.
Thank you. Have a good night.
He'll nod and open up the door and head back inside.
I will return home, and I think Clara's gonna make herself some tea before she does anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what Clara, if you say anything to Atira after that, or whether you just head back to bed, or...
Nope, I think she's gonna,
Okay.
She's gonna go back into her room and go to sleep.
Yeah, I think that's sound. I thought we would get further than this, but we're about 2 hours through, and we've not done Sunday yet, so I guess we'll pick up next week with Sunday, as I admit I am frazzled, so yeah, we'll leave it there on that bombshell of a conversation, and we've got a warehouse to raid next week.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh god.
No, we're not sponsored.
Just free advertising. It's everywhere. We can't stop it anyway.
I haven't seen one of those in a while.
Do you know what?
Maybe
You're right. I haven't seen one in a while.
Nature is healing.
I have.
Nature's healing.